Okay, awesome. I'm gonna leave this up. We've got some stragglers coming in. Yay, okay guys. So welcome to this unique training that actually, I don't know if Kathy in a minute you wanna speak, but I'm actually really excited about this. This is a very unique customized mastermind for Isagenix Platinum specifically. I'm launching a big group training right now, and Kathy's like, no, we want this customized for our Platinums in a private group. And so I'm very honored to have the opportunity to work with you guys and coach you privately. So I'm going to walk you through the agenda for today, just so you know what we're going to be talking about. So first and foremost, I want you all at ease that you've missed nothing. At some of you, it sounds like we're a little worried that you've missed something, but our first call is all about onboarding. For the first 20 or 30 minutes, we're just going to be making sure, I'm going to go through from beginning to end, everything from your modules to the resources. You weren't supposed to hit play on anything yet, so you're perfectly fine. You've missed nothing. And if you're still confused and you're not sure where things are, like the Facebook group or your coursework, that's okay too, because the assignments don't start till this week. So I want to put you guys at ease because I know you're all overachievers. I want to get ahead, but I just want you to know you've missed nothing, okay? So that's first and foremost. All right. So first of all, real quickly, just my goal. I have two major goals with you guys, and then I'll walk you through the agenda. But my number one major goal with this LinkedIn training is to give you more action to show you how to grow and scale your current network marketing business. And I want to have you have more action in the next 3 months leading with the business than you have in the past year. I'm really going to be challenging you to think a little differently, approach things a little bit differently, and leverage the ridiculous success that you already have, that many of my clients would die to have your financial story on LinkedIn. You guys already have the proof, right? So I'm going to be coaching you on how to leverage that to be recruiting. And then secondly, maybe some of you, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but maybe some of you are a little exhausted with the whole recruitment strategy on Facebook and Instagram, or maybe you were really good at it belly to belly and this whole quarantine has just like shut you down. But my goal also, my second goal over the next 3 months is to really help you fall. If you fell out of love, I'm really hoping to encourage you to fall back in love with the prospecting strategies, prospecting for the business on LinkedIn. I want you to be, by the end of this excited. A lot of my students and clients literally are up at 4 a.m. now because they just can't wait to get into their inbox to see, who's interested in the business today based off the pipeline generation that they've been able to create over the past couple of months. So I want you to wake up in the middle of the night excited to see who wants to talk to you. Like, that's my goal by the end of this. So with that being said, let me just give you an overlay of the agenda, and then I'm going to pause for a minute in case Kathy has anything she wants to address to the team. So we are going to, first of all, I'm going to go through a whole, I want to introduce you to my support team, and you've got some peer students in here who've been through the program already that are going to be here to also, I want to introduce you to. I'm going to share a little bit about my story, my background, why in the world you even want to listen to me. Why you're on this call. And then we're going to really lay into the objectives and get a whole lay of the land, some general housekeeping on all the resources, all the tools, all the things that some of you, I know your head is spinning, which is why we have this first kind of onboarding call. And then depending on time, because we do have an hour and a half, we may even take a 5-minute break for anybody who needs to go to the potty. And then we'll dive into really the agenda for the next 3 months and really hop into talking about the first 2 modules that you're going to be working through in the next 2 weeks. And also I'm going to pull up my screen. I'm going to show you guys Kajabi. We're going to walk you through really how to even access your courses, right? So like I said from the very beginning, you've missed nothing. We don't start till today, and I'm happy that you guys are all here. So before I jump into the team, I'd love to, Kathy, if you're okay, I'd love to turn it over to you for a minute.
Thank you, Melissa, and thank you for putting this together. I know you put a lot of work into it, and I'm really excited because, I think that there's never, ever been a unique opportunity like we have right now. And, Isagenix has done great things, but a lot of people have always led with the products, and, which is fine. It's just a longer, slower process. Where if you lead with the business, that's what I always did in all my builds, because I never had a product like Isagenix, so I was forced to. But it's a lot better, easier conversation. And right now, people are looking to diversify their income. They're looking to, in their portfolios to have a residual income. So nothing better than this. And, I have been watching what Melissa has been doing personally and also with their team, and it's really, really working. And she comes so highly recommended by other platinums for helping them really change their game. And so I know you are such great students. And so thank you for investing in yourself. And we're going to crush it. We're going to make this the best training ever. And I'm going to be on every single one of them so I can learn as we go, so we can also teach our teams and give our teams advice on different things and really how to do all these great things. So thank you, Melissa. Thank you so much. Everybody's been waiting, for this.
Yay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Kathy. And I'm just honored to have the opportunity to train you guys. So, and I couldn't agree more. One of my mentors who's really taught me to lead with the financial opportunity, Murray Miller, is here on the line. And it's a lot of what I learned through him and how to lead with a business, I then applied to this social media platform that's business to business. I literally took his words and applied it to the LinkedIn method, which has really driven a lot of my business. And what I would like to share with you guys, that literally the last 2.5, almost 3 years, I've exclusively recruited for business on the LinkedIn platform and talked nothing but business, which that's saying a lot for a pharmacist. I have a doctorate in pharmacy and I led with the product for 2 whole years, right? Anyway, so I am super, super excited to get started with you guys. I'm going to introduce you to the team real quick before we jump into really my background. And again, I'm just, thank you, Kathy, and just excited for the opportunity. So you have a support team. So first and foremost, Jessica Klassen. I've got Jessica and Neen. I think Neen is here on the line. She is like all things customer service. She's amazing. I know she's worked with some of you this weekend. So she's really your concierge along with Jessica Klassen to really help out. If you've got questions and you need support, they are here for you. And then I've got Jackie here. She is our IT expert. So if you've had questions about Kajabi, which is going to be your coursework platform, she is our expert that's helping on the back end there if you've had issues getting emails. So you've got an amazing team here to support you. And then also, you've got some teammates, Murray Miller and Lynn Kemper here on the line who've actually gone through my training. So I thought what better support to have than actually have some peers who've been through the training, they're applying the principles, and they have a number of people in their downlines that are doing the same. So I thought that it's best not just to hear me talk about it, but you might want to hear their 2 cents, their verbiage, how they're applying things. So we've included them in the training, and you guys, Lynn and Murray, I'll turn it over to you in a second just to introduce, I know you know everybody, but if you want to have a word about this. But these guys were really trailblazers with me in the very beginning. Murray's been hearing me talk about LinkedIn for like 3 years on the Global Exec calls. So, and Jessica too, and they get like an honorary PharmD. Jessica's trying to get in right now. It looks like she had a hard time getting in. And then also Ashley is on the line. I want you to guys know Ashley is a student intern who's helping me. She's on all my live calls. She's going to be helping take notes and follow up. She's drinking water from a fire hose. She's here to learn. So that's that. Murray and Lynn, before I dive in about myself, do either one of you, not to put you on the spot, but if either one of you want to address the group or have anything to say, you're welcome to.
Yeah, I'm happy to. If it's okay, I'll start, Lynn. First of all, I've been using LinkedIn well before Isagenix. For probably a decade before Isagenix, I was using LinkedIn to recruit for my financial services business. So I was 100% on LinkedIn from day one. When Melissa started really diving into this, and her verbiage just absolutely, Susan and I just gravitated to Melissa because of the way that she was approaching the business and how she switched. And she went from really 100% product to starting to go into the business to 100% going through the business and having so much product knowledge, more than probably anyone on our team, or as much as anyone on our team. She was able to make that transition with LinkedIn. And when she started doing LinkedIn personally, for herself, her business started to grow from a business standpoint. She saw a lot of growth taking place, and she started working in a systematic way. And then, of course, eventually she started developing a strategy. And then she started teaching the strategy to her team, and it became more than that. And now she's coaching so many people on LinkedIn and how to use it to just have leads pile up, the type of people that you're looking for, and attracting them to your profile. So I took the course, the basic course, and her more advanced course, just to see, be an open-minded person, learn more. And boy, did I ever. I mean, there were things that I had no idea that I could do on LinkedIn that I wasn't doing, that just increased my exposure, increased my conversations on a weekly basis that were really high quality conversations, meaningful conversations that I was having with people. And I used to tell the team all the time, I spend all day online to get people offline. And that's really what the system is designed to do. You can't really enroll anyone without actually speaking to them and finding out their goals. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, and you're going to learn a lot of tips and tricks and strategies along the way. But for the most part, getting people offline and connecting with people in a meaningful way where they know, they love, they trust you, and working the business from there. And so it's just an absolute great prospecting tool. It's something that you can definitely use for yourself and build with your teams.
Awesome. Thank you, Murray. Thank you.
That's great, Mary. Yeah, I hadn't been on LinkedIn for years because I wasn't looking for work. Even when I was back in my previous career, I wasn't looking for work. So I was completely out of touch with the LinkedIn community, but I was watching the converging trends that were happening, and this unique time that we're in where the converging trends of this moment affect all sectors. And Melissa has been in the LinkedIn space as a business builder where there were such headwinds, because it was a time when we had such low unemployment that no one was really looking for an opportunity. But she developed the business in those headwinds. And now we're at a place that is so incredibly unique, where, as Kathy said during ICE Academy, the numbers, 865,000 women stepped back from the workforce in September, right? And you see so many things that are happening, and just as many men are suffering and are lost. So they're looking for answers, and they're going to the community that they know, which is LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. And so to understand how to have those conversations, how to create the attraction marketing, how to help them recognize what it is and move through the process and do it in a professional way. Melissa is so great because she already has experience, and she's an extremely capable teacher, which you'll find. She's going to be right there with you. She brought such clarity and moved me and my team through the process very quickly. Like, we got to the point where we had the skill set that we could utilize. And at this time, this is an amazing opportunity for all of us to be of service to other people and help them find a way through this labyrinth that we're all in. So I love it. You're going to love the training. She's the best. So enjoy it.
Yeah, I will just close by saying exactly that, Lynn, that the details that you go into, Melissa, are really what I found so amazing. How you actually have broken it down so minutely that we can just take every little piece and it all comes together and works so well synergistically. So the details you guys are going to get, it's going to blow you away.
Yet she keeps it really simple so that the process is quite clear to you. You'll know what to do and how to do it. You'll start to see results. You can benchmark your results, and Melissa will help you understand what to do with the leads and how to dig deeply into the process so you attract and then know how to move the process forward with conversations that speak to this time. So yeah, you guys are going to have, it's going to be so great. We're really excited for you.
Agreed.
It's going to be fun. Oh my gosh. So thank you guys. And actually, Lynn, you reminded me, I challenge all of you guys before you really get started at hitting play on the first module. If you've got the LinkedIn app on your phone, I would challenge you all to go to your profile right now and take a screenshot. I want you to take a screenshot of where you are today, what your headline looks like, what your banner looks like. And if you can even go see how many people you have in your network and write that down. You don't have to do that piece right this second, but do take a screenshot. Because what's going to be really fun is like 3 months from now, going back to that and looking at your before after, and you're not even going to recognize your profile or your network if you stay in the trenches with me. And that's the other thing. I'm glad you guys hit on that, just the detail. I do. And I'm going to walk you guys through the agenda in just a little bit, kind of the journey we're going to go on together. And I've done it. I've created it systematically for a reason. Step by step, I'm going to teach you how to build out your business and your platform, but it does take work, right? Definitely, I'm going to be asking you guys to go all out. You've committed to this. You've blocked your calendars. You've invested in it. And, my challenge to all of you is to play all out with me. Play all out for 3 months. Because this is not going to happen overnight. It's not like we make one post and pray and we bring in 20 business builders tomorrow. That's just not how this works. For many of you, you're going to be building a brand new network and a brand new brand. It's going to take some work, right? But once you get to that flow state, which I think I interviewed one of my previous students the other day in here. If you guys missed it, you can go catch it. But she is in the midst of her flow state where literally she's enrolling 20 to 25 business builders a month. And all business. And it didn't happen overnight. She started in January, okay? And she took the coursework and she did the work. So the thing about LinkedIn, and we'll get into it, but it's a cold market, right? You have to learn how to take a cold market and make it warm. People aren't going to want to jump right into bed with you like our friends and family did on Facebook, right? But there's some great strategies on how to do it. And you guys are going to learn all of them. So that's the cool part.
Melissa,
Okay.
I just wanted to mention that Penny now has LinkedIn for most of you that know that, and I'll mute out after this, but I just didn't want to miss that. That has helped tremendously, having Penny tell me what to do every day that has to do with LinkedIn and being able to toggle back and forth between those two. So it works extremely well with Penny.
I love that. And maybe, Murray, before we're done with this training in the next 3 months, if you're up for the challenge, maybe you could share with everybody your best practices with the Penny and the LinkedIn.
Happy to.
Okay, awesome. Yay. Okay. All right. Well, so you guys have met a couple of folks on the team. I would just want to give you a little bit about me. And then we can jump in. I've got some statistics I'm going to run through with you as well, because I think they're really going to catch your attention. They are later in the modules, but I think this is going to, if you're not leaning in already, I think it'll have you really leaning in. But just a quick bit about me. I was a corporate leader in a Fortune 500 with a doctorate in pharmacy when I was introduced to this company and the products. I was able to build and scale my Isagenix business to 6 figures in about a year and a half. I found myself as a hamster on a wheel, though, towards the end of that second year, where I felt like I was a sponsor monster. I was bringing in a ton of people for product. I was leveraging my doctorate for being the product expert, and I was realizing it was not duplicating in my downlines because I was the expert and they weren't, right? And when I left corporate America, I realized that there was this massive blue ocean. If you guys have read the book, we'll talk about it in a second. But I realized, my avatar, the professional, the working professional that's working, really long hours, conference calls all day long, a lot of responsibility. I was never really scrolling a whole lot on Instagram and Facebook. I just didn't have the time. And when I did, and I saw the post and pray kind of spammy photos of women holding their products to their face or being half naked. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying me particularly, I was like, I can't do that. Like, good for her. I'm glad she's making millions, but I just don't have time to do that. And that's just not how I want to operate business, right? And so that made me think, as I was exiting corporate, thank you, Isagenix, to come home and have that third baby, I was like, gosh, there's a whole network of professionals just like me over on LinkedIn. And they have no idea how much this industry and this company has changed my life. And they have no idea that they can leverage their leadership skills and their drive to actually grow and scale an online business and work a third the hours. They just don't know. They're seeing it positioned in a different way on social media that's not appealing to them, or they don't have time to, or they're not over there, right? And so Murray has witnessed it since the birth of it 2 or 3 years ago when we started texting back and forth. I'll never forget just freaking out at the number of leads for the business I was getting when I finally made the shift. I said, you know what? I'm going to go to LinkedIn, and I'm not just going to do it for a couple weeks and say it didn't work. I'm going to LinkedIn for 365 days, and I'm going to invest all my time and effort over there because honestly, I can't stay on Instagram and Facebook much longer before I'm burnt out. Like, I just can't. I'm tired of trying to stand out with the algorithms, and it doesn't work like it did 5 years ago. I shot to 6 figures on Facebook, but then I kind of flattened out. And some of you guys may have experienced that with some of your teams yourself, that it's a saturated market over there. So I went over to LinkedIn and I committed for a year. And I started leading with the business, except I didn't know what to say about the business, even though I was leading with the business. And that's where Murray was incredible, because I must have pulled him into 15 three-way calls in the first couple of months that I was using LinkedIn. Because I'm like, I got another one, Murray, and they want to talk business. And I've been talking product for 3 years, or 2 years. I can talk about ashwagandha, but I need you to lead with the business, right? And over time, I was able to really step into my own power, right? And really 100% lead with the business and lead with the financial opportunity and the income producing asset and e-commerce online, right? And so that kind of catapulted me to where I am today, guys. It's been almost 3 years. All my recruits come off of LinkedIn, every single one of them, and they're 100% for the business. And I realized about 2 years ago that I needed to formalize this, that this industry I'd fallen in love with needed a more professional representation on a professional platform, and that women and men like me needed to own this industry with confidence and swagger, that they should be with us, that it is better on the other side. But and this is where I'll talk about the blue ocean, so many professionals and professional network marketers were afraid to get over on LinkedIn and own it. Like even me, when I first started, I was afraid to raise my hand and say I'm a professional network marketer, because I was afraid of what my network would think. But what I found in that year that I made the shift, and Murray and I were like texting like crazy all year long, was like, and I'll never forget Susan Miller even saying during the midst of all of it, I'm like, they're coming in droves. I don't know where they came from. And Susan said, Melissa, it's because you've stepped into your power on that platform and you're owning it. And people start to listen when you don't back down and you're confident and you build a brand and you create value proposition, but you create this attraction marketing around your brand. And we're going to get into all of that throughout the 3-month course. But what I found was that, gosh, if you come across polished, you come across professional, you come across confident, and you consistently do it, and you're looking strategically to bring people into your network, there's over 600,000 people on LinkedIn. You're going to find people like me and people like you that want what we have, right? And it's going to be about, is your branding right? Is your value proposition right? And if it is, you're going to generate massive leads for yourself. So that's a little bit about my background. What I'm going to share with you guys a couple of statistics, because I was going to wait till you guys got into it on the coursework, but Lynn was texting me earlier and she's like, oh my gosh, you've got to share this with the Platinums. So I want to catch your attention. If I haven't caught your attention already, I want to run a couple of statistics for you guys before we dive into your onboarding and everything. So I'd love in the chat box, you guys can take a stab. What do you think the average age of the Instagram and Facebook user is? What do you think the average age is? And you can just drop it in the chat box. 24, yeah. So Jeremy's yep, 24, 25, that's right. So you've got younger people using this platform, right? Now, what do you think the average age of LinkedIn is? The average age. Yep, it's older. It's 35, right? Now, you guys are going to be doing some avatar work actually this week, where you're really going to be thinking through who it is you're trying to attract. But I can tell you, when I was doing my own kind of personal self-work and figuring out, who am I trying to attract? If I'm not just trying to attract people who want to lose weight and feel better, like who do I want to lock arms with? Who do I want to run with me? And it really, when it came down to it, I wanted someone who'd lived enough life and worked for someone long enough, but had a lot of grit and perseverance and work ethic and wanted to get out. I wanted someone who had high income potential. Maybe they were already making a lot of money, so the stakes were high, but they wanted out, right? And so what I found is that demographic of the average age 35 to 40, that those people have been out in the workforce long enough to be like, this is not for me. I'm ready to make a change, right? And I'm not saying that working with 20-year-olds is a bad thing. I just said that my avatar is someone who's lived enough life and has a lot on the line, and there's more to life than money, right? So what my avatar, time, is their pinch time, not money, right? And if I can show them how we can match that income to get their time back, that time quotient is way more valuable. But they have an income at stake, right? And so these are people who want to lock arms with you and run with you. Okay, number 2, income. What do you think the average income is for the Instagram and Facebook user? What do you think the average income is for Instagram and Facebook? All right. So Kathy's taking a stab at 100K. Hillary says 40, 25 to 50, 60. Awesome. You guys are making some good stabs. So yeah, so the average income is about 23,000 average. Now these statistics change every month, but this actually goes in line with the age, right? So like there's way more users of Instagram and Facebook, no doubt, right? But you have like 4-year-olds whose parents are set up accounts for them to 98-year-olds who are like my grandparents keeping up with my grandkids, right? And so, so you have the very young and you have the very old, and then you've got everything in between. On LinkedIn, you've got a tighter kind of working age, right? First of all, so then that kind of tightens up the income. And then you got to think about the platform. It's a professional platform where people are looking to network and grow personally and professionally. So these people are very vested in their profession and in networking. And the average age on LinkedIn is $100,000. So there's a huge disparity between income, revenue, income streams between an Instagram and a Facebook user and a LinkedIn user. Now, there's a number of reasons for that. I've hit on some of that already. But a huge piece of it is because of the massive swing in the number of the types of users on the platform versus LinkedIn very narrowing in, right? Now, this is where you guys should get really excited, because most people in social selling are intimidated by LinkedIn, and they think, well, these professionals already make money and they don't want what we have, and they judge what we do, right? And these are like the demons I was even putting in my own head as a working professional who was making 6 figures in network marketing, right? And so, but what I want you to take, there's 2 sides to a coin, right? But there's actually 3. There's like that center, if you turn a coin on its side, right? You can set it down. There's a 3rd side to that. And I want to challenge you to think about that 3rd side on LinkedIn with these people who make over $100,000 a year. And I want you to think about this. That people who make money like money, right? People who are making money are doing something right? And I don't know about you guys, but some of my top income earners and top recruiters are super busy. You guys will get to meet one of the girls on my team that I found on LinkedIn earlier this year who ranked advanced to executive in 2.5 months. And she has 4 kids and she's a corporate professional, right? Here's the thing. She's making 6 figures and she wants out. She wants to be home with her kids, right? The only reason she was willing to listen to me was because I was consistent in my branding. I was inspiring on the platform. I was showing her how you could live out life as an entrepreneur and your children could be a part of your business. I'm not afraid to include that. And we'll talk about this as we go through training. But that's where I want you to think about that coin on the 3rd piece, like the 3rd side. Most people think, oh, well, this demographic makes money. They're already good. No. I want you guys to think about this demographic as their stakes are really high. And we talk about this all the time with Isagenix. Like you can have financial success, but it doesn't mean you have financial freedom, right? And I know for me, I was making multiple 6 figures as a medical director in the pharmaceutical industry, but I cried myself to sleep at night because someone else was raising my kids and I was on an airplane and I was never home. And I was at a place in my career in my early 30s where I was like, what have I gotten myself into? I had no idea what the solution was going to be, but I did not want to live out my life the way I was living it for the next 10, 15 years. But I'd kind of educated myself and career laddered myself into this space where my back was against the wall because I had financial success and I needed to find a way to match that financial income and get out and have more freedom, right? So I want you guys to think about this with the users on LinkedIn, right? Their stakes are high, their incomes are high, but I will tell you, I have a number of clients who aren't even in social selling and network marketing at all that I coach because they're looking for people to invest in franchises. They're looking for people to invest in their angel investors, okay? These guys are smart. They know where people have income are that can invest, right? And the angle that we get to take in Isagenix is it's so much lower risk than investing in a franchise. It's so much lower risk than becoming an angel investor, right? And you guys have the financial stories to absolutely back it up. And not just you, but you have so many people on your teams that are going to be able to endorse you, that you're going to be able to showcase in there, that you're going to be able to inspire them and validate, right? Okay. Gender. How many of you would like to see more men on your teams? This is, yeah, right? This is the only social media platform between Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn where there's more men, right? Well, it's one of the reasons I kept pulling Murray in. I'm like, I got another one, right? I need you for social proofing. The men are hanging out over there, right? And then let's talk about mindset and organic reach. So, because they kind of go hand in, well, they go a little bit hand in hand. The mindset, this blows most people's minds. The average Instagram or Facebook user, what device do you think they're using? When they're scrolling, it's their phone. So I want you to think about mindset for two reasons. Think about mindset on Instagram and Facebook. First of all, like, you're usually there to be entertained, right? Like, I don't consume much, but when I do, it's usually when my husband's got a Netflix show on I'm not really interested in. So I'm just kind of scrolling. That's like the only time I'm on those platforms, honestly, right? Now, LinkedIn, the number one device, do you know what the primary device is that people use? Anybody want to guess? It's the computer. That's right. It's the computer. Let me make sure there's nobody else trying to get in. The computer is the number one device. So I want you guys to think about mindset, okay? When you or anyone in your network is on Instagram or Facebook, typically they are in there to be humored, to be entertained. They're over being sold. We've done that for years, right? Like the spammy pammy and like the pitching and all that stuff. They're in there to connect, catch up with their families, to be humored, to be inspired, right? And they're on a device. Typically they're multitasking. They're watching a soccer game. They're at a stop. They're in the grocery line, right? They're not looking for a job right now, right? Now, think about LinkedIn. People are typically zoned into LinkedIn when they're on a computer, typically at work, zoning out, looking for something else. And the user rate is during work hours. Like there's peak activity on a Monday morning at 9 a.m. when people are supposed to be working, okay? I want you guys to think about this because I want you to think about, I love using this analogy, but you can actually send, what do you think about this? You can send the same message for the same person through those two different platforms and get a completely different response because of mindset, okay? So you slide into somebody's DMs on Instagram or Facebook and you try to pitch them for the business or pitch them for a product unsolicited, and they're either going to be annoyed by you or they're not going to answer you. You guys get it all the time, right? Like people slide into your DMs and you're like, ugh, right? Now, think about that same person on LinkedIn and they just got notified that their organization is downsizing by 2,000 this fall because that's what corporations do in the wintertime. It's the least disruption. I'll talk about that in a minute. And now all of a sudden you slide into their DMs on LinkedIn and instead you say, hey, so-and-so, I see that you've got a background in marketing and sales. Curious how things are going in your current work environment. Not sure if this is for you, but I'm wondering if you'd be interested in looking at this webinar next week, blah, 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 right? Now, same person, different platform, okay? You've hit them two different ways. If you slid into their DMs on Instagram while they're in the grocery store and pitching them about the business, they're going to scroll on, right? Now, same message, more polished, more professional, right? About the business on LinkedIn, and they're sitting in front of their computer when they've just got a bomb dropped on them about their job. Do you think they're more likely to listen to you? Absolutely. Absolutely. And so that's what I want you guys to get excited about and think about as you transition some of your work onto LinkedIn. So then I'll kind of close out on getting you excited about this, and then we'll jump into content and make sure you guys are all onboarded. I call it the trifecta. When you spoke to it a good bit a minute ago, and Kathy, you did too, but I call it the trifecta of what's going on in the world right now, specifically in the US. There's three things going on that are making LinkedIn absolutely a Pandora's box for opportunity. Number one is pandemic and disruption, okay? So when people experience disruption, as significant as our country has experienced this year, people question everything. People reassess everything. In February, the employment rates were like the lowest they've been in like a decade. However, 70% of employees, when surveyed, were unhappy at work. That was in February. 70% were unhappy at work, right? Then the pandemic hits. People are working from home for the first time. I know the men in my neighborhood that are usually gone on airplanes every single week have really been enjoying the yard work at the house. They've really enjoyed having dinners with their families. People start to rethink, like, man, I have totally been missing out on this. And they start to think, how could I do something different? And the other thing happens is people start to get furloughed and their hours get cut. They start to think, I didn't even like this job anyway, right? Or you take someone like me, who was a burnt out professional, wishing I could be home with my kids, and then it's handed to me on a silver platter from home on my computer for a little while. And all of a sudden I'm open, and you slide into my DMs to talk to me about it on LinkedIn. And maybe a year ago I wasn't, but today, because of what's going on in the disruption, I absolutely am. Are you guys tracking with me on that? So it's a huge opportunity. And Lynn, you hit on this, but there's over 70 million Americans in the US. I'm not sure what the numbers are outside the US without jobs right now. And Lynn, I saw you put it in the chat box, coming from corporate America, we always made cuts in November. You guys, there's about to be a bloodbath. I've been in corporate long enough to know this is when companies cut, because it causes the least disruption to the company, because you go through the holidays, people come back in January on a clean slate, and then a quarter of the company's gone, right? And it gives people time to think about it and mull it over and just start fresh. I've laid off a number of people myself in November. So there's a huge opportunity for us to literally change people's lives, impact your own legacy, generations to come, and their legacy by presenting this opportunity to them. This one makes my heart just like, the numbers now are 800,000 or more women have left the workforce in September alone, in 1 month. And I know many of you have friends who are trying to work and manage their kids at home, and the women are taking the burden 100%. Their adrenals are blown out. Something has to give. The statistics are showing us the women are bowing out. Again, huge opportunity for us to connect with them, present the opportunity. So I said the trifecta, I just jumped into disruption. Number 2 is the gig economy. So never have people been so open to the gig, working side gigs here, there, and everywhere. It's never been more of everybody I know has some kind of gig that they're doing on the side, right? So you've got that. And the third piece of the trifecta that I hope gets you guys super excited is the media platform, LinkedIn, right? So never has there been disruption of this kind with unemployment rates at this rate. And there actually is a social media platform designed to connect people to network for business. Never has this ever happened. So we have we have a social media platform that's designed business to business, people to network about opportunities, and we have this massive unemployment rate and disruption where people are questioning everything. And the gig economy has never been more socially acceptable, and everybody's doing it, right? So I hope that gets you guys I hope you're all geeked out about LinkedIn now. If you weren't before, it is a super, super fun place to jump in. Okay. So, and the last thing about it, I call it the blue ocean. So, so I would challenge all of you guys to do this. Go, not right this second, but go onto LinkedIn and go research some of your top network marketers in the industry. And I want you to see if they have a brand presence. I want you to see if they're actually active. I want you to see if they're positioning themselves and providing value over there. I call it the blue ocean because up until this past year or two, they just weren't over there. Now people are going through my courses. You'll find some people who've been trained really well and they're over there just raking in enrollments. But the reality is it's not a platform that most network marketers play in. And so it is, if you leave the red ocean of Instagram and Facebook and can jump into the blue ocean of LinkedIn, you are a big fish in a small pond, and the organic reach is tremendous. Once you've scaled your network to at least 500, if you're not there already, and you start to get active, a little test you can do for yourself is make a post on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Do them all on the same platforms, all at the same time, and come back a couple days later and see which one has the most organic views. Gary Vee did a video just a couple weeks ago on the organic reach of LinkedIn and how it's the Facebook 10 years ago. Now, many of you probably scaled to millions with Isagenix through Facebook, right? A couple years ago. But that's over, right? It is done. It's flooded. It's a red ocean where it's flooded. You can't stand out. That's where Gary Vee says if you can sink your teeth into LinkedIn right now, this is the next wave. This is where you're finding people to network with and to grow and scale your business. And so just to excite you guys, I thought I would share with you. You guys have to be numbers-driven people. Jessica Johnson told me I should show you guys this really quick. Can you guys see my screen? This is I just wanted to show you a quick impact of using LinkedIn so Catherine Sontag is she's one of my private clients, but what I want you to see here is that these two women who came in before her are actually direct to their company. So they were founders, okay? So these two people were founders. And she and I have been working together on LinkedIn for the past 3 or 4 months. I want you to look at her numbers of teammates. She has 187 new teammates in the months of August and September. And for their company, we'll just call it Rank Advance, 71 people qualified for rank advancing into leadership. Like above and beyond, without a shadow of a doubt, compared to her peers. And I want to show you guys those numbers because I want it to excite you that if you can lean into this method, there are thousands of people open and wanting what you have to offer that can grow and scale your business, right? Okay, quick time check. It's 2:44. What I want to do now is I want to walk you guys. We're going to do the actual onboarding. We're going to walk through the objectives. I'm going to walk you through the coursework. I'm even going to show you the website to make sure you can access your page, your training page and everything. And then we're going to dive into talk about the content with the modules. Do you guys want to take a 5-minute bathroom break before we jump into that? Or do you just want to jump right in? You guys put it in the chat box. You guys want a 5-minute break? All right. Bethany's the first in and she says, let's go. So let's do it. Okay, perfect. All right. So guys, we have 3 months together. Okay. We have 3 months together. And like I said before, I just want you to play all out and go through your modules weekly and take action each week. And I'm going to walk you through the flow of all of it. So my objectives, we're going to walk through the objectives and then I'll walk you through the actual content. Couple things. The first thing we're going to do is get really clear on who you're trying to attract on LinkedIn, because this may look different than who you are trying to attract on Instagram and Facebook. What you guys are going to find in the modules, initially, the way my training went is we jumped right into your profile, your banner, your headline, and then in the next module, we started doing some inner work on who you're trying to attract. What I've learned over this past year is that inner work and discovery on who you're trying to attract is uber important, and we need to do it first so that the next week when you start working on your banner and your headline, you have some clarity on who you're actually trying to attract. And then it just makes more sense what you're trying to put into your headline and your summary because you're more clear on who you're trying to attract. Does that make sense? So week one, so we're going to start with who you're trying to attract, and then we're going to go on a journey together working on what we lovingly call the storefront. You'll hear us say this a number of times. I know Lynn and Murray are really used to this term, but I call it a storefront because your profile represents you as your virtual business card on LinkedIn. And so that headline, that summary, that banner, your photo, that's like your storefront to your business virtually online. So we're going to spend a number of weeks in modules getting really tight on that. And I do this methodically so that when you begin to start reaching out and you begin to start your branding, what happens the moment you put something out that creates curiosity? What's going to happen? The people who are curious are going to go straight to your profile to see what you're about. And so there's a reason I want you to be best representing yourself before you start pushing out content, because I don't want you to miss an opportunity because your value proposition isn't right? So that's why we're going to go through this step-by-step process. And then we're going to really start building a compelling brand that you can push out to create that attraction marketing. And we're going to then strategically start growing and scaling your network through strategies on searching and finding the right networks to bring into your network, right? So it's funny because I'll have clients that say, I've just never had a lot of luck on LinkedIn. I'm like, well, who are you targeted to grow with your network? And they're like, oh, I've never grown my network before. And I'm like, well, how are people going to know you're open for business? Like you have to be strategically looking for the right people to put into your network so that you can then create what I call know, love, and trust factor through putting some content out and letting people know what you're about, right? So that will learn how to grow and scale your network after your storefront is nice and polished, right? And then we're going to segue into a weekly flow. You're going to learn how I have the income producing activities to really grow and scale on LinkedIn. And this may be something ultimately you delegate to an admin or a VA. So I even have my own VA. I've trained her. She's well-versed in how to manage my scripts and how to funnel people onto my calendar. So when I woke up this morning, I actually had 6 people already booked in my calendar for calls this morning. I actually ended up having to reschedule all of them because I was launching my academy and my platinum call today. So I was like, I had to move them, but that's a good problem to have. That's a really good problem to have. So you can, when you get to the income producing activities in week 4 or 5, you'll have a downloadable sheet that ultimately, I really need you guys to learn this process and understand the evolution and the mind shift on LinkedIn. But know that at the end game may be that you actually outsource a VA or someone to be managing your inbox, to leverage the scripts I'm going to give you to generate your funnels, right? It may not be something in the long haul that you're wanting to do every day, but it's important that you get into the weeds of it in the beginning to really learn it and understand what your value proposition is, what your brand is. We got to get your storefront right before you delegate work out to somebody else. Okay. And then obviously we're going to learn a lot from each other along the way. You guys are going to learn from each other. So here's the lay of the land and the way the next 6 months are going to go. We're going to have live coaching every other week. We're going to have live coaching every other week through this Zoom link that you have. And we'll come to the call and we'll have a good dynamic Q&A moving forward. Today is going to be onboarding, but what you'll find is when you guys really sink your teeth in, you're going to start to have questions, you're going to start applying things, and you're going to have scenarios where you want to come back. And you guys are going to learn as much from each other as you are from me, and probably even Lynn and Murray who've been through this, and they can give you their 2 cents. I also, on the weeks that I'm not doing coaching with you guys, so every other week, right, I'm going to give you guys time to hit play on your modules, but every other week we'll have the live coaching. On the weeks that we don't have the live coaching, I offer up hot seat coaching. So like next Wednesday between 10 and 11, we'll make a post about it in the Facebook group. You can actually submit, and we'll give you all the information on how to do this. You can submit your question to hotseatcoaching@burnout2allout. So hotseatcoaching@burnout2allout.co. If you want to jump on and go live and you're open for a hot seat coaching session, my students in the past have really loved that, especially if you're one of those who's already like plowed through 3 modules and you want me to audit your LinkedIn page and you don't want to wait till the actual audits we're doing in a couple weeks. Nominate yourself to do some hot seat coaching, 10 a.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays. If you're available, we'll pop in the feed, and whatever it is, whether you want me to audit your headline or anything that you're working on, right? So that's just a chance for you to get some coaching from me outside of the scheduled group coaching call that we have every other week. But just be okay with it streaming live to your peers just in the Platinum page so they can learn from your questions, right? Because that's how you learn. You guys are going to learn just as much from each other's questions as you are the actual content, right? Now you are assigned self-paced modules, and I'm going to show you where to access that here in a minute in case you haven't been able to access it yet. I also have an agenda of where you should be each week on the modules. We're all adults, but I have found that holding you accountable will help you move along. I'm giving it to you in bite-sized pieces each week so that by the end of these 3 months, you don't recognize your LinkedIn profile and you do have lead generation, but you have to do the work. I can't get into your LinkedIn profile and do all of this for you, right? So you're going to have to hit play and you're going to have to watch the modules. And so each week I've assigned you a module. This week is module 1. And I'm going to go through the modules here in a second. And so the goal is to get through the modules that are assigned to you prior to our next touch point. That's going to hold you accountable so that, and the carrot at the end should be, if I could, that you'll be able to have your questions answered on the calls, having gone through the content, right? Because you're going to get way more out of it if you come to me for application, right? And so you're going to be hitting play on those. If you have questions throughout your journey, you can certainly reach out to our concierge, your LinkedIn method concierge at burnout2allout.co. Again, we'll have this posted like crazy on the Facebook page. So if you have onboarding questions or access issues for anything, you can, at any time throughout your 3-month journey, you can reach out to them and they'll be able to address questions for you. So there's that. Oh, and the other thing, Kathy, I guess I wanted your 2 cents on this. I thought you guys might like this. Towards the end, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday next week, I'm going to be interviewing students who've gone through the LinkedIn training. They're going to be sharing best practices. They're going to be sharing their success. Didn't know if that was something you guys would want piped through here too, just to see kind of a snapshot of what it'll look like in a couple of months. Like what their lead generation looks like, where their business is today. I just thought it'd be really inspiring for you guys to like really take action.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. So they won't just say that they're doing really great. They'll show us certain things that they're doing specific.
Well, I can have them share with you best practices very specifically. Sure. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Work with the best.
Yeah. Because we could even do like a best practice. I can pipe in some best practice, just like live through here, best practice sharing. Okay. Yeah, we've got some people doing some great stuff with stories right now, LinkedIn stories. And generating a lot of links.
And you know what I can have Brenda do too when we're done? Maybe she could send out these links to everybody so they have it, because sometimes it sounds like something else and it's another
yes
word. Yeah.
Yes, totally. Yep. And they're included in your emails too, but they'll be posted in the Facebook pages. And that brings me to the last place. It's kind of like herding cats when you get launched with a program like this. We have a Facebook Messenger group that has, I think, all of you in it. My full disclaimer there is that Messenger group is designed just to be able to make sure, like, if one person has a question, probably 12 people do. So we're trying to answer questions in there real time and make sure everybody's onboarded. What I want to be clear about is that that's not a place to post questions about LinkedIn or get coaching from me. Because like you guys, I have like a bazillion Facebook Messenger like threads going on, and it's just not a good platform for me to be coaching you on. But what we will have is we will have a pinned question post at the very top of our Facebook group, our private group. It'll be pinned up. It'll stay up there permanently. And in the comment section, as you're going through the content, you can post your questions in that comment section. And that's just one way to gather it all in one spot. So I'm not trying to chase down all these questions or posts, right? So just post your questions as you're going through the content in that comment section. And what I will do at the end of each week, you don't have to be on, but I'm going to go live. You can catch the recording whenever you want, but I call it kind of a strategic advisory where I'll cover all the questions that you guys posted, and I'll do a Facebook Live on them. So you can catch the replay on the questions that you might have. Bonnie says, so Neen, Bonnie, oh, she's already got you right there. Cool. Okay. So that's the lay of the land. So you guys are going to be hitting play, watching about 30 to 45 minutes of module work once a week when it fits into your crazy schedules. Each week there's assigned homework that's going to help you make application to what you're learning, right? And then every other week we'll come together as a group call. Now, some of these calls will be a group call like this. There's going to be 2 calls that are actually breakout sessions in smaller groups because there's going to be more dynamic conversations, and I need you guys to be in smaller groups for it to be impactful, okay? So this week, my team will be reaching out to you guys. You'll be notified which breakout session you're in, because I know some of you are antsy to know which time slot you've been assigned to. So let me walk you through the agenda here. You guys see this? Okay, here we go. So this week, so we're going for 3 months, right? And so what I have highlighted, and this is in your welcome email, but just for your reference, this week we're going through the first module, and I'm going to pull up Kajabi in a minute so you can see it in case you've had a hard time accessing it or not sure how to maneuver it. The highlighted yellow is just when we have live calls. So this week you're going to be going through your first module of avatar work. And then next week you're on your own for going through the next module and making some application. Now you're going to be prompted in the private Facebook group to share what you're working on. And I highly encourage you do this because you're going to have fun seeing, and even Lynn and Murray, I would love if you guys would share too, because I think that your peers might like to see what your value proposition is in your headline, you know, how you've pitched yourself having gone through the training. But we'll have little prompts in the Facebook group to remind you to share what you're working on so that people can give each other feedback and see what you're working on. And then we'll go in November 2nd, we'll have another call. And that week, during that week, so our call is Monday morning, but your module for that week is assigned that week. So module 3 will go through that week. If you want to have it done before we have our call on Monday morning, absolutely. But I'm just pacing you out to get through all the module work in 3 months, right? And then the 9th, you're going to go through module 4 on your own. And then on the 16th, this is where we're going to break out into smaller groups. Now, you still have an assigned module. Every week you have an assigned module, whether we have a live coaching call or not. So that week you'll go through module 5. And you'll be working through your income producing activities, which again, it may be a flow sheet you want to share with your admins or executive assistants if you have them. But we're going to break out into 2 smaller groups and do some audits. So this is where the rubber meets the road, where you've applied everything you've learned thus far, and you come to a smaller group call with me and about 15 of your peers, and we're going to do a round robin where you'll be pulling up your profiles and I'll be giving you feedback, and it'll be really beneficial for the other 14 on the line to hear the feedback from each person, because you'll find that there's tweaks you might want to make. And then October 23rd is self-paced, and then November 23rd. November 30th, we'll have a live call together, and you're assigned module 7 to be on your, you'll be learning on your own. And then December 7th, you'll be working on your own. And then the last 2 weeks are both live calls, because what we're trying to do is get it done before the holidays. I didn't want you guys to have like a lingering call in January. I wanted you to be buttoned up by the end of December so that in 2021, you were like raring to go. So you'll have a smaller breakout call on the 14th. So that's the one of 2 calls. The December 14th and November 16th are the 2 calls that will be broken up into smaller groups. And then December 21st is where we will wrap up and clean up all questions about your training for the 3 months. Now, any questions about that before I walk you guys through how to use Kajabi? Let me come back over here. You check the chat box because I was just talking. Do I need a premium account? Great question. And I was actually going to hit on that at the end. Absolutely not. Everything I train you on is completely free on LinkedIn. Now, what I will tell you is that if you have a small network, meaning if you've got less than 100 right now, or you're opening up your LinkedIn account for the first time, a premium account may be worth it. And here's why. LinkedIn doesn't like for you to connect with more than about 2 to 5% a day of your current network number. Okay. So if you have 1,000, then you can connect with, 25, 50 people a day, and LinkedIn is not going to block you as a hyper recruiter, right? But if you're starting out from the ground up with no network, and you get in there in week 4 and you've got my scripts and you just get trigger happy trying to grow your network, LinkedIn can slap you on the wrist and call you a hyper recruiter and make you pause for 30 days. Yeah. So if you have a smaller network, I would suggest purchasing premium. You can even get it for like 14 days. If you want it for free, I would strategically not purchase it yet, because you get it for like 14 days free. Wait until we get to the module around growing and scaling your network, because you don't need to be growing your network right now anyway until your storefront has the right value proposition on it. So if you're looking to purchase premium, unless you're going to pay for it, and then you can pay for it and you'll get it monthly. Okay. So yeah. So where can you get the high level agenda? So it's all been emailed to you guys. But if you guys want another refresher email, I know that some people that it was like hiding in their spam box. We can take an action and we can send a follow-up. We'll send a follow-up email with the agenda, high level agenda. Just taking notes here. Should we create new accounts if we have an old or inactive one? Hillary, that's a great question. This is really no. Depends. The reason I'm hesitating is because there's been scenarios where people have had to because they were operating a different business. Like I have some people in your downline, they're going to run into this where they're a recruiter for their career and they can't brand themselves as a network marketer and a recruiter because their employer actually pays them to use LinkedIn to recruit, right? But that is very far and few between. I coach corporate professionals who have really high power jobs to brand and position themselves as also having a gig. And it actually validates our industry that you can do it in the pockets of your time and be successful. So unless it's like a legal issue, I coach people to make sure in their headline they have both, even if they're fully employed somewhere, to have in their headline that they have a side gig and what it is. And you guys will learn more about that in week 2. But so Hillary, I would not recreate a new network because you already have a nice network, I'm sure. If you've got an account you've had. And the thing is, and you guys will learn when we really get into my LinkedIn method of like networking, some of those people may not be your people, but their people's people might be your people. And you guys know this because you're incredibly successful network marketers, right? And what happens in LinkedIn is that second and third degree connection, I'm going to teach you guys in a couple of weeks how to take that third degree connection and make it a first degree connection. So Hillary, actually, the more people you have in your network right now, even if they're not your ideal avatar, it gives you access to all of their networks for the future to be able to bring them in, right? So their network. So, you have an old email I don't even have access to. Oh, okay. Well, then maybe you might want to message LinkedIn just to try to salvage that network. You can go into like the settings of LinkedIn. It's just like Instagram or Facebook, except they're way more responsive. You actually get a human and they email you versus like waiting for years to rot because Facebook never responds. You can message them. Oh, that reminds me. This is huge. This is huge, guys, because you guys are huge. I need you to make sure you go in this week, and I might even do a little video to make sure you guys have it in the Facebook page. I need you to create a 2-step authentication factor on your LinkedIn page. Some of you probably already have this on your Instagram and Facebook. But what we're finding is that there's a lot of pirates out there on the internet who identify who are really top social selling influencers whose networks are how they grow and scale their business. And they will try to weasel their way into your accounts. And then they will what's the word I want? They'll bully you to get it back. So it actually happened to me. So they hijacked my accounts, changed my password, changed my email, and then sent me ransom notes with links for Bitcoin to pay them to unlock my accounts. So you guys are very, very successful in your industry, and you're a really, really high target. And so it's really important that you have a two-step authentication factor. Basically what that means is that LinkedIn will text you before anything can actually be changed, even if someone's manually trying to change something. You want it routed to your personal phone so that it doesn't go to anyone else. That happened to me earlier this year, and it was a nightmare. I actually still don't have access to my Facebook account. I had to start a new one. So if you have not done that for LinkedIn, for Instagram and Facebook, as big as you guys are, for sure go set that up too, because all it takes is for them to get in there, and you've totally lost your network. And we know right now being on the internet is about the only way to grow and scale a business. So, okay. Let's see. Jeremy says, I am a disaster. I've built on LinkedIn, but do not know what I'm doing. That's great, Jeremy. That's where everybody is. There's so many people who like Murray said, he'd been on there for 10 years, but now he's laser focused, and he has this massive network to build through that second and third generation because they're there, right? Nicole's having issues with, we've had issues with Outlook. There's some kind of block. Communications. Yeah, that's a great idea. Nin, do you think maybe we could post the Facebook, we could post our notifications in a file section on the Facebook group as well as the emails? That would be awesome. Yeah, it's Microsoft that the emails weren't going to. And it looks like Bethany just gave you the document on the workaround because we were running into that this weekend. Okay, they are currently try premium free for 1 month. So there you go. Again, to maximize that free use, you might want to wait to purchase it till when you're ready to start growing your network, Okay. So any more questions before I show you guys Kajabi? Nicole, this will get fixed for you. Same happened to me. Okay. Yeah, and I know even Kathy, you had some issues with Outlook a couple of weeks ago. Outlook has been kind of a mess. So those of you that have Outlook, we've had a hard time communicating with you. Kathy lost like her entire email, like everything.
Don't upgrade. Don't upgrade on anything. They upgrade you, everything's gone.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. What I want to do now is I'm going to show you guys Kajabi. And this is kind of the last thing before we wrap up with some general housekeeping in next week. So let me close this. So you should have access to your Kajabi is the training platform I use where all my coursework is uploaded. So you have a unique username and password to access this training. If you at this point still do not have access to your training and don't have the link to click on to get to your training, if you could put it in the chat box, and then Nina can reach out to you and make sure you guys are taken care of, okay? This is where your coursework is housed, and this is, yours probably just has one on here, the LinkedIn Method Platinum Mastermind. So what I want you to see here when you come in here is, oh my gosh, way too much makeup on my face. I had a photo shoot that day, and you guys got me at the end of it with like fake eyelashes and everything. There'll never be another video like that of me, but there you go. Over here to the right is click to join to the Facebook group. So if you still don't have if you're still not connected to the Facebook community, but you've got the training, it's here. If you're ever lost, it's right there. Also over here to the right, important information, you can click right here to add all the calls to your Google Calendar if you have a Google Calendar. The Zoom link and everything is there. Just click on it. It'll auto-populate to your calendar. You guys were asking about the email addresses, the hot seat coaching at Burnout to All Out. So every time you log into this training platform, these resources will be to the right here. So if you want to submit for hot seat coaching on Wednesdays from 10 to 11, this is the email you'll send your question to. And then if you have any questions about onboarding, the correct email address, your LinkedIn Method Concierge, way too complicated. In the future, we've got to make something much smaller, is right here. So all of that is here. So your assignment this week is to hit the introduction and take a listen, and then start on week 1. And you'll see that in the modules, you'll watch the video, okay? But then there's also some assigned work. So there's worksheets for you to download. Right here, if you click on the homework on this PDF, you can print it out. And in this very first week, I'm going to be challenging you to brainstorm on who it is you're trying to attract, right? And so you'll be working through your coursework every week, just like this. In each module, when you hit play, notice there's also a homework section. And the homework section is just, it's encouraging you to take action from what you learned. I think the biggest thing I missed, I took every LinkedIn training there is. I paid for every LinkedIn training trying to get the secret sauce before creating my own. And the biggest thing was there was just all this education, but no like actual application and coaching. It was just telling you just telling you a bunch of stuff. And so what I'm challenging you to do every single week is to pause and do the work that I'm coaching you to do, and then share it with the Facebook community. It's only Platinums. It's a private Facebook group. It's just you guys and my support team. Nobody else is going to see how you're pitching yourself. But you're going to learn a lot from each other through the exercise. So that's the flow. So each week you'll be watching a module. This week, again, you're going to be brainstorming. I didn't take Scott Aaron's course. I didn't. But I've heard he does a course too. So, but I did take a bunch of other courses. And at the end of the day, when there wasn't anything exactly like I wanted, I just made it myself. What I found is that there was just no strategic coaching on attraction marketing in social selling, recruiting for your business. There just was nothing like it for social sellers. There's all kinds of training for network marketing on like Instagram and Facebook, but there was just no training on how to recruit. And literally it's a business. You're recruiting for a business, right? Okay. So this week, and this is where we'll wrap up, guys, and then we can open up for questions. This week is avatar work. There's really going to be 3 assignments this week. Once you get into Kajabi and you hit play, you're going to be brainstorming who is your ideal business partner. This is your chance to hit the refresh button with a blank canvas and think about on LinkedIn, who am I looking for, right? Who is my ideal avatar? For me, it was me 5 years ago, right? For you, it doesn't have to be you a couple years ago. You can build out your own prototype of who you're trying to attract. But it's going to be important because it will build on the content that you put out, because you're going to ultimately want content that attracts that avatar, right? Number 2 is you're going to be challenged to really put pen to paper and write your financial story. You guys have incredible stories. I follow the same flow that Isagenix taught me 5 years ago. What was life like before Isagenix? What is life like with Isagenix? And why are you excited about the future? It's that simple. But it may have been a while since you've thought about this as a business owner and like what you're excited about in 2021 and the impact you guys can make with so many professionals. And then the third exercise this week is your personal brand. Right? And so this might be a little bit different than Instagram and Facebook. I'm not sure what your branding is like on Instagram and Facebook. But your third homework assignment this week is really what makes you uniquely you as an Isagenix Platinum, right? Like all of you have this one title in common, but there's a myriad of other things that make you unique. Now, the spin and the angle on LinkedIn is that you want to keep in mind this is a professional business-to-business platform. So even though making paleo meals is something I love to do, that's really going to stay over on Facebook and Instagram because it's just not really a business-to-business piece of content, right? But what I want you to do is think about 4 or 5, if you need to start with 3 just to get started, make it 3 areas of expertise or branding that make you uniquely you. So for instance, one thing that makes me uniquely me is a mom who works from home, right? Like that is actually part of my brand. You guys will see me when I invite my network to an evening overview with our team, my kids are in the video. And I'm talking about building a business from home with my children who can participate, right? You may be a an e-commerce expert. You might be passionate about leadership. There may be categories. I encourage you that there's categories outside of specifically Isagenix, because it's going to make you more relatable if you're not just constantly about your particular business in the feed, right? So like I was a leader in corporate. And so when the whole thing started to just spiral with children in school and moms trying to work, I, coming from corporate, made some really powerful posts to call to action leaders in corporate America who are of an older demographic to consider and respect their younger employees with small children. I basically made a post that we're all in the same sea in a storm, but we're all in different boats, right? And a lot of top leaders in corporations, their children are graduated or gone, and they don't know what their younger employees are having to manage at home with these small children, right? So that was a way for me to relate and be in there and not be pitching my business, right? So I want you to think about, what are some things that are uniquely you? And then obviously you are a highly successful online e-commerce expert, business owner, but there's other categories to you too. I know, like Lindsay, I see you here. I think you were a clinician, right? A optometrist, right? I recruit a bazillion pharmacists, and I'm sure you do too. I mean, it is a gold mine over there if you can pitch and position yourself properly. So even if there's a past life that you want to tap into, like I know Murray does in the financial services, that's his niche. He's niche down, man, and he's running with it, right? So it doesn't have to be the business you're in today. So that's your homework assignment for this week is module 1, getting through that work. And then next week, hitting play with module 2. I'm going to pause because today was a boatload, right? Because we needed to onboard you. I needed to introduce myself, give you guys kind of a lay of the land to meet everybody. So I'm going to pause, and anybody that wants to open up mic and have questions, feel free.
Melissa, I have a question.
Sure.
So one of the things that Sean and I have been talking about doing with LinkedIn is I've been on LinkedIn for a while, but I've really not engaged much. When I was blogging, I used to blog from my WordPress blog, post it in groups, create a discussion, and then I could get some engagement, and that was great.
Yep.
But I want to build out my profile to attract other dentists for another dentist type business. And then as a side gig, I have a side gig with my wife, but I want to attract dentists. What do you think of that?
100%. So Murray's probably laughing because my team is so full of clinicians that we kind of do our own thing where like once a month we do a pitch that's around like how can you leverage your clinical expertise and build a side hustle, right? So that's just going to be you niching down and branding and then promoting it properly. So what we do is like on the monthly, part of my marketing campaign is highlighting healthcare professionals who have rank advanced as a side business, tagging them and seeing in their profile they have a day job, right? And the more I do it, the more social proofing it is that it's okay. So, and this is where I want you guys to be patient with the process, because the first couple of weeks or months that you do this, your network might think you're crazy. They might think you've lost your mind. But then the more you grow and scale and the more you bring people in within that particular niche, it's actually a small world and people get FOMO, right? So like that's where we have snowballed and enrolled so many pharmacists, because all of a sudden when one gets posted that they rank advanced and another one gets posted that they're doing the overview as a guest, and it's like tagged and the whole team starts posting it, it goes viral within kind of a niche of an industry. And maybe 6 months ago, they thought Melissa was crazy, but now they're like, what am I missing out on? There's like 15 pharmacists that are doing this. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So you have to be patient with the process though. So like, for instance, Danielle Cole, you guys will meet her next week. I recruited her off of LinkedIn in January, and she made her first enrollment in late February. And then she went executive in June. And she crushed the bonus pools and was like number 4 in the Northeast and the director pools. And then anyway, she's had an incredible story. So what did we do? I showcased her as a guest speaker for an opportunity overview that we do every Wednesday night at 8:30. And I made a flyer with her face on it and tagged her. So that now, because she's not savvy with all of this yet, but I just tagged her, so our whole network sees that this chick who's crushing it in medical device sales is now also pitching about another business. So that's where the whole my LinkedIn method starts to make sense. Is I create I create kind of this mentality of social proofing, right, over time, and people start to get more and more curious as it happens. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Yep.
Scott, I think hygiene
I
is
have a
better than the dentist. Yeah, because they really hate their jobs.
Nurses are huge right now, and anyone in healthcare, really, Kathy. Because dentists, like I haven't seen my dentist in over a year and a half because I don't want to go open my mouth in there. And seriously, like in the hospital, surgeons optional surgeries are elective surgeries. Census is down tremendously. Healthcare providers and then the ones that are frontline are putting their lives at risk every single day, and they're overworked, right? Yeah. And hospitality, yes, people in hospitality, like hospital, like hotel management, huge. I've even recruited some people that like did cruise stuff, like that were in the cruise industry. Yeah. So you guys got to think. Here's something fun for you. Just type in hashtag open for work on LinkedIn, and you will be busy, very busy. Oh, thank you, Joni. I'm glad that you guys are finding it helpful. Yes.
Okay. So if I have a non-existent Instagram presence. I think I have 2.
Me too.
And I've never really been that much on Facebook. I mean, I do, personal stuff, but I have of course, a team page that we work on, but, people don't do that. But so that's not a problem?
What, to have the Facebook page?
Well, to not really have that big of a presence and to jump into this.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you guys will find, for me, I had zero presence on Instagram at all. And I have very, very little presence on, let me just back up. I use Facebook to manage communities.
Yeah.
My Isagenix community, my coaching communities, but for my income producing activities through social media are 100% LinkedIn. Now that doesn't mean, once you enroll someone, you probably have a funnel process where you're funneling them into a team Facebook page, right? Where you're onboarding them. But I don't recruit over there at all. I haven't recruited a single person off Facebook in over a year and a half, almost 2 years. It's all on LinkedIn.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Melissa, do you want us to connect with you on LinkedIn so that you can evaluate our profiles when it's time, or is it better?
Oh, great question. Oh my gosh, I'm glad you brought that up. I had it on my list to mention with you guys. Okay, so first of all, every single one of you will get an audit by me. We have a workshop at module, I think it's right around module 4 or 5 in the content where we'll have breakout sessions. You'll be in small groups, and I will do a full audit for you on your storefront after you've done your work. And as far as connecting, I highly recommend you don't. Now, you guys are more than welcome to connect with me if you want to for a little while, just to kind of see how I do things. But I want LinkedIn to be a blank canvas for you guys. How many of you, your Facebook feed is full of Isagenix? Right? And how many of you, even with Instagram, it's full of Isagenix? So this is what I tell my team and I tell my clients is I love you and I adore you, and let's keep up and let's catch up on Facebook, and I'll support you and I'll, all the things. But the more you can stay in your swim lane and niche down and do your thing, and they can recruit their networks, the better, right? Because what'll happen is you'll end up seeing a lot of cross recruiting, and you'll be tapping into their networks and they'll be tapping into your networks, and you'll actually have broader recruitment and growth for your team if you can coach your team to kind of stay in their swim lanes. Now, that's not to say that like my personally enrolled in my downline that I'm coaching how to do this, like we're connected on LinkedIn and I'm tagging them and stuff, but we get to a point where we unfollow so that we're not cross prospecting. So like, for instance, I did an opportunity overview a couple of months ago, and I always post a flyer and edify who's my guest. And it was Dr. Christine Manukin, which some of you know, she was an IsaBody finalist, and she just left corporate America, and she's on my team. She's in my downline. She was my guest speaker, and there was a guy, and you guys are going to learn in the scripts that I've been back and forth with in my script funnel for like 4 or 5 months. And I made a post with her in it, and I had her tagged. And in the comment section, that guy said, hey, where's the information for this overview? I hadn't posted the Zoom because I create curiosity. I want people to reach out to me for it. And Christine, no fault to her, lesson learned. She hopped on it, DM'd him, gave him the Zoom line, and followed up with him immediately after the call, enrolled him and closed him. And I was the one who'd been trying to recruit him for like 6 months, right? So I had no idea what was happening. So that's where it can get kind of messy, right? So I would set the standard up front with your team. Hey, I adore you. I love you. I want to support you. But in order for us to grow as quickly as possible and not kind of cross recruit, let's keep those swim lanes clean over here on LinkedIn, and let's be friends or on Facebook. I don't know, Lynn or Murray, if you have anything to say to that.
I definitely am glad you talked about this today, because I know that what happens generally in a situation like this is everybody on this call will click on everyone else's LinkedIn that they're not connected to and try to connect. And it's eloquently explained by Melissa. You don't want to offend anyone, but at the same time, you don't want to be connected to anyone in Isagenix on LinkedIn if you really want to prospect and recruit on LinkedIn, because it just works against you instead of in your favor. So just take that to heart, that it's business, and that's just, we're not trying to hurt anyone. We're trying to help everyone, especially your own team. Like that situation that happened with you, Melissa. Thank goodness it was in your downline, but
right, exactly.
Could have been someone else, right?
Right.
Or another company or whatever.
Exactly. So it's a great question. Bethany, and many of you may have this scenario. She has 99 people waiting to accept. I'm going to teach you guys a tactic that most people don't use at all, and it's going to help generate conversation immediately. So you're going to learn this in a couple of weeks. And if you want to binge forward, you can. It's in module 4 on connecting. I have scripts for you guys. Do not, whatever you do, don't just accept requests right now. You're totally missing out on massive opportunity. I want you to respond with an open-ended question that's going to elicit conversation, that's going to drive you through the funnel to present the opportunity. So if you have those 99 right now, I know it's tempting to just accept so that you can grow your network, but you're totally missing the opportunity to get on the phone with them, right? So if you want to go ahead, you can. Or you can save it for when we get to that section and your storefront's ready for them. Awesome. Yes, and somebody asked about the one-on-one coaching. Yes, my team will be reaching out to you guys. We did have a promotion for those of you who purchased the course in a certain time frame. I can't remember what it is. They're going to have to go back and look. We will be booking our one-on-one calls with you. What I have found is that my students like to sink their teeth in a little bit before they actually have that one-on-one call with me, because you'll have more questions the further you get into the hole, the more questions you'll have. So we thought that it'd be best to get you through and if you're dying to go ahead and get that one-on-one coaching call, absolutely reach out to the LinkedIn concierge and we'll go ahead and book it. But we were going to reach out to you kind of midway through the 3-month process. Just so that you have kind of your wits about you and have more questions about it, right? Yay! Trudy says, excited to have a clean slate. Better to wait. Your questions definitely change. Yeah, Lynn says your questions, they do. They totally change every time. Awesome. Oh my gosh, we ended on time. Well, unless anybody has any more questions. Are you guys ready to play all out?
Oh, this is awesome.
Yay! Okay, awesome. And I'm going to say this, and I'm just going to put it out there. We have hot seat coaching next week. Right now, we have a live call every other week, right? If you guys decide a couple weeks in that you'd rather have a call every week, we can wipe the hot seat coaching away and have a group call. When Kathy and I were going back and forth, we just didn't want to take up too much of your time. I want to be respectful of that. But if you're also like, oh my gosh, we're getting through so much content and the next call isn't for 2 weeks, we can revisit. But if you have questions between now and next Wednesday, submit your hot seat coaching questions for a chance for hot seat coaching. If you have any questions about your resources, reach out to the concierge. We're here to help you. You can post in the the Facebook page if you have questions, or even in the Facebook Messenger. We're excited for you guys to go on this journey with us, and we'll see you in 2 weeks on our next call at 2. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Melissa.
Thanks, Melissa. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.